Good day everyone, I'm Nikki Chin Lozon and welcome to Contemporary World. So now we will be dealing in global governance in 21st century. Before that, let me give some introduction. So first, I define state as the institution that creates welfare and sets economy policies for a country. State also considered as a political unit that has authority over its own affair. We also know that the state has a boundaries or borders that are recognized by the other country. So proceeding to the main topic, let's go define what is global governance. So global governance or the world governance is a movement towards a political integration of transnational actors aims at negotiate a response to the problem that affect more than a over state or a region. Si global governance daw ay isa siyang kilusan na tumutulong sa mga politiko para ma-resolve yung isang problema na malaking problema na hindi kayang i-resolve ng isang bansa. In this topic, we have series of factors behind the emergence of global governance in 21st century. So we have 5 factors here. The first one is the declining power of nation-state. The second one is the vast flow of all sorts of things through the borders of nation-state. The third one is the mass migration of people and their entry. The fourth one is the Herodotus events within events nation-state. And the last one is the global problems that the single nation-state cannot hope to tackle on their own. So now we will be proceeding on the first factors, which is the declining power of nation-state. The declining of power of nation-state is a highly contingent and in flux. It will be open a possibility of the emergence of some form of global governance to fill up the void. Ano nga ba yung evidence na magpapatunay na nagkakaroon nga ng declining of power sa isang bansa? So the first one will be the national government increasing the face problem that are too big for them to handle. Ano nga ba yung mga problema yon? So dito pumapasok si international terrorists, drugs, environmental problem, global pandemic that has become human threat in a humankind. So for example na nga lang dito is si COVID-19, di ba naging malaki yung epekto niya sa sa atin, dito sa mismo sa bansa natin or sa mga ibang bansa pa man. So the next evidence will be the United Nations and the universal problem in human rights. So dito naman is wherein nagiging limitado yung kapangyarihan or yung power ng isang estado or ng isang bansa to restrict out the freedom of an individual. So the third evidence is the global social movement or the green movement. Dito pumapasok is the multinational and transnational corporation, and it also includes the largest bank that want to overpower the authority of a state to a particular country. The last evidence will be the limited power of the nation-state that could create a great change. So the best example here is yung war sa Iraq. If you are aware that United States refused to back up them, but they still initiate to continue that war. So the next factor is the vast flow of all sorts of things through the borders of nation-state. The vast flow of all sorts of things that run into often right through the borders of nation-state. This could involve the flow of digital information of all sorts of things to the internet. It is difficult and if not impossible for a nation-state to start such a flows in any case. It is likely that such an action will be politically unpopular and bring much negative reaction to the nation-state involved in such an effort. Dito naman sa factor na to is kinukonsider natin si internet as a media in a digital flow information na nakakatulong sa tao na mas maging informed sa mga nangyayari dito sa society. So for example na nga lang dito is the firewall of China. So ano nga ba yun?
The Great Firewall of China. And really, it's nothing like a wall at all. Think Alcatraz, a maximum security prison with multiple fences on a remote island. Firstly, all of the websites from around the world are funneled through just 9 national gateways. Past that and you get fence number 1, IP blocking. Now this one's all about controlling what people upload. So every computer has a unique address. It's called an IP address. In China, every one of them is monitored. Now if they detect something they don't like, everything from that particular computer is blocked. Then, when it comes to controlling what people download, there is fence number 2, keyword filtering. So that little address bar at the top of your browser, whole internet pages, search engines, the government can scan what you type in there looking for keywords. So if you were to type in, say, Tibet or Tiananmen or Asian pussy, you'd probably get this. And it is a long list of subjects that'll get you this reaction. You think about these guys? Yep, that'll get it. Oh, definitely don't look him up. Don't even bother to access sites like BBC Chinese or Wikipedia or... You're kidding, right? But the most powerful brick in the Great Firewall isn't a piece of technology at all. Over the years, the Chinese have instituted a formidable culture of self-censorship. If you own a website hosting company, for example, you're held responsible for its content. So every provider hires staff, dubbed Big Mamas, to find offending content on their sites and harmonise it. Blocked. But it's not just...
So, si Firewall of China, siya yung nagdidikta kung ano lang ba yung mga dapat na impormasyon na malaman ng tao. So, kaya nang dahil dito yung bansang China, maraming silang negative na reaction na natanggap. So, the third factor is the mass migration of people and their country, often illegally into the various nation-states. If the state are unable to control this flow, then there's a need of some sort of global governance to help deal with the problem. So, the flow of criminal element as well as their products, drugs, laundry money, and those bought and sold in sex trafficking, etc. It's a strong factor in the call of global governance. In this case and others, there is a need some degree of order, some sort of effective authority, at least some potential of the improvement of human life. These are the few things that can be delivered by some of global governance. So, dito naman kapag yung isang bansa or isang estado ay hindi na nila makontrol yung pagpasok or paglabas ng mga tao sa kanilang bansa. So, dito na nila kakailanganin si global governance. Kasi yung mga migration people, they could give threat sa mga taong nakatira doon. So, the fourth factor is the reduced event within events of nation-state. So, this is factors that involve the nation-state that the state in themselves either form and carry out or unable to control. If you are aware in what happened in Sudan in 2003, may mga rebelde na nag-launch ng insurrection protests against the Sudanese government because of putting this record to the non-Arab population in the western region. Because of that, unique response of non-Sudanese government is they actually equipped and supported the Arab militias or the Janjaweed, and they give an authority to this militia to fight against that rebel. So they even terrorize the civilians and prevent the international organization from bringing food and medication among us, as well as the medical supply. So non-humanitarian crisis where people become affected not only internally but also externally. So another example with the Holocaust of the World War II. It's said time by some sort of global governance that will put pressure in Nazi Germany. The cruelty or those murdered could be prevented by hating such military strategy. If you're aware, in January 1933, about 6 million Jewish were persecuted and murdered actually. And one of the main factors in global governance is humanitarian crisis. Before they consider very superior over any other race, and Jewish they are threat to the German racial community. So the last factor is the global problems that the single nation state cannot hope to tackle on their own. One is the global financial crisis and panic that swept the world periodically, which is nations so often unavailable to deal with their own. So the best example dito will be the global financial crisis. So the global financial crisis and panic that brought the world periodically during that time. They resolved to solve the problem with the help of some form of global governance in order to help them deal with the problem, and that would offer them a solution for their problem. So from the global governance that would help them to solve, they're proceeding with the effects of globalization to the government. So one of the key factors of state sovereignty is a government, wherein it is a group of people that has ultimate authority on behalf of the state. We also consider state as autonomous, and it has the right to self-determination, it has a law and policies that will benefit to the people in other country, not interfere with them unless they actually allow them to help them in their problems. So include indeed election, and we're in a certain democratic country, we are the one who set the leaders in position to lead the people, and of course the policy, and that will actually benefit the people. Okay, because of somebody will be the civil society. So among the civil society, the private economy, hospital, institutional organization, and even the human church. Okay, so we also consider challenge when it comes to government or the state of being autonomous. So we have actually 4 challenge. First, we have the traditional challenge. Second will be the national or identifiable challenge. Third will be the global economic, and fourth will be the global social movement. So the last factor is the movement of people or an enormous group of people that belongs to a grassroots organization. So this movement will actually but be the transnational movement that moves across the borders and across the country. So the best example of this will be those advocacy of human rights that will actually fight for the preservation of human life, that will get the public sentiments value, and of course the agenda. And of course, agenda will be those who are in favor of penalty, like the possession of United States when it comes to death penalty. Another example will be the woman empowerment, the green movement such as the environment movement that will actually fight for a climate change that will actually cause some sort of global governance. And the next will be homosexuality or the right of autonomy, like homosexuality, the recent issue of same-sex marriage, and lastly will be the fight for gender inequality. Okay, so we have the news update when it comes to the challenge to the global governance, and that will be the COVID-19, as well as known as the global governance, that will be the movement of a political integration towards the transitional actors when a United States, international courts, and even. So, dyan nag-e-end yung ating lesson about global governance and 21st century. So, sana may natutunan kayo. And one thing na, gusto ko mag-iwan ng isang salita na kahit ano man yung pinagdadaanan ng bansa natin ngayon, alam naman po natin na malalagpasan natin yun dahil nandiyan po ang global governance to help